na tinak din dhage 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 na tinak din.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid and porridge. Kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a flash from the past. We on the smash now. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher. Yeah. Sherry Luaka from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy reporting live on this beautiful Sunday service. Hey, so today, you see, we're going to take it over to Tennessee and Illinois as far as the lecture goes. But today, when it comes to the news, it was put on my mind to take it this direction today. Shout out to y'all, where's my manners? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. All the constant support. Y'all go ahead, hit the like button. Let's get everything right. Let the people know we live because it's going to be a good one today. All right. So tap in. Let me know in the chat that y'all can hear me, see me, and everything is working fine. So y'all, while y'all work on that, let me tell you the premise of where I'm trying to take it today with the news. So I went down one of my rabbit holes the other day because Clyde Davis passed away. Now I'm no fan, but I'm a historian, right? So this is what I do, and I love music before I love history. So I used to research the hell out of music. It ain't too many music movies that I haven't watched, especially for the historical figures. Any documentaries, books, I'm that type of cat. Been that way before the autonomous way. Just keeping it real, right? So it's interesting because I seen a meme floating around. It was a meme that was basically saying Clive Davis, when he was in charge of Columbia Records, did a report that Harvard did for them, basically researching Black soul music and figuring out everything about it. Okay. So, I had to go see if this was true. Turns out, oh yeah, it's pretty true. And it's pretty relevant because we always been breaking down that everything that was set up for the demise of our ancestry was a systematic plan. It ain't no one person. People play roles in different fragments of the overall, mission. It's not centralized in one person, place, or thing. But music, no doubt about it, played a pivotal role in what ended up happening as far as what happened to our communities, because music and entertainment is a very powerful medium. It's no wonder that America is the strongest place of propaganda and media that was also able to concoct and craft such elaborate, lies mixed with some truth, because the best lies contain some truth, right? So I found this very interesting when I started reading the report, because you know your boy, I take this serious. So if I'm gonna speak on something, I'm gonna go take the time to do the real research as best of my ability, right? So I went and found a report. So I'm gonna show it to y'all. All right. So I want to go over a few things, and then we gonna correlate, because this report happened in 1971 and 1972. Okay, this is when it came out. So this is the time frame that they're researching Black soul music. And I want you to hear a couple things that they found out, because it's very interesting now that we are in 2026 and we can judge this stuff from a revisionist view. You know what I'm saying? So let me get this pulled up and we're going to get to it. All right, so let me see if I can make it a little bigger. So right here, this on Kindle, because I couldn't even find a free PDF, because this dude right here, Dr. Logan H. Westbrooks, he went and basically made it to where you got to buy this book if you want to read it. It's not long at all. It took me probably 30 minutes to read this, tops. All right. But I'm just going to point out key things. I went and gave him $10 on Kindle so I could be able to share certain passages with y'all, just so we can break down the source. This is what we do, right? So I'm going to take it over here first to 68. All right, so it said the purpose and the objective of this study was to examine the feasibility of Colombia getting into the soul music, and then what it would take to do it. All right, but what I want to show you here is that they did a very thorough investigation into the way that soul music worked, bro. And the things that they was able to ascertain through this report was very astonishing. You know, just to give you a summary, they figured out the chain of events, like what led to the success of the market, the DJs, the record stores, the local promoters, all the independent labels, because at this time it was still mostly independent. The Chitlin Circuit, I'm sure you probably heard of it. And this Chitlin Circuit funneled the economy for the cities. So the city had a popping couple spots. They had also a business economy too, right? Because that's where the business economy spent their money on the weekends. So it keep crazy enough, right? This is also off the heels of integration. Everything is changing at this time frame, and we haven't properly identified to know the play, but we're gonna put it all together here today, right? So as you can see here, it's telling you what the purpose is, the scope of the report, and the conclusion, which is they say the market exists in the soul segment. They want to get in. They weren't part of it. Colombia didn't do anything with Black music at this time. All right. So they letting you know that they want in. This is what this is saying right here. Right. So the Harvard report, for those of y'all just coming in, studying of soul music. Now I want you to remember this, because this is key. They letting you know that they want to study, because the report itself, it ain't no smoking gun in here that say, hey, we are gonna trick Black people. We're gonna make them. None of that is in there. They're just showing you that, okay, this is a very lucrative business model that we don't know nothing about, and this is our strategy to get into the community. I'm going to let you judge based on the past 40, 50 years, and you can make an assumption of what you think they did with this information. But I'm just here to give you the news and report on an autonomous view. You feel me? So right now we lay in the baseline that everything was independent. You only had a few major players in soul. All right. So we're going to take it over here to 119. And I highly encourage for y'all to go read this if you're interested past what I'm showing, because it's a lot to this. Okay, so right here, listen to the historical development of soul music. there has been an evolution of soul from a series of isolated local regional styles, sounds, and artists towards a more homogeneous and stylized sound, almost national in the scope of its popularity among Blacks. And with this has come the emergence of Black artists with a national following within the Black community. Then it say soul music has had a significant and continuing influence on other sectors of the popular music culture in the United States and Great Britain. Initially through the medium of white artists who first covered, then later interpreted soul music for white audiences. Ultimately, this influence broadened through the medium of Black soul artists themselves as they belatedly received exposure and access to white audiences. Okay, so now let's talk about what they saying here. So before the majors started messing with soul music, it already had reached overseas, bro. And they was mimicking the soul artists, and then some of the white labels were then put out these records as if they were right pop records, when really it was just a sped up version of soul. So they was already doing this before the big dogs really even cared about soul music. Keep this in mind now. This is what they saying. Okay, so we showing that the big dogs, the big corporates, they weren't even on this yet. Okay, so now at the time you had Motown, which we all heard of Motown, Stax, Atlantic, and then everybody else was independent. Okay, so he say, yep, exactly. So it's always, so here's the smoking gun that he actually, because it was always rumored that he did this, right? But in this report, it literally says his name. I think that's coming up next. Let me see what page. The brain was so much, I had to just break this down to give you the most important stuff so y'all can go read the rest on your own. Because as far as what they tried to, what their plan was, they executed it flawlessly. Okay, so hold on. I think this is it right here. So the treatment of Black artists and writers by the major record companies during this period can be described as racist. Cover versions of R&B hits by white artists were common practice in the 1940s and 1950s. As an example, many of Elvis Presley's hits in the 1950s, when he was a dominant force on the music scene, were nothing but cover versions of hits in the then fairly small Black market. Once again, this is the Harvard report, a study of soul music environment. This ain't my personal opinion. This ain't they. So if it's a lie, Harvard need to be the one to get sued for this, because they made it. They specifically named his name and said this is what was going on. Okay, so the lack of interest in the Black market exhibited by the major record companies also had implications for Black artists. It meant that unless a Black artist was willing to sever his ties with Black music and instead work in the field of popular music, he would be unable to gain wide exposure. So they pigeonhole you into the chitlin circuit because they knew that if your music got a worldwide audience with a push behind it, you would be a star, and they had no control over that. So that's why they didn't want no parts of that at this time. But Columbia, they's one of the first ones to want to go in, because Atlantic is a major one, and they was already dealing with Black artists at this time. But Columbia was like, hey, if they getting money off this, we want in too. Okay, so this is what was going on. All right. So now we see that we always getting tested on. We always getting experimented, and you know what I'm saying? That's always what it is. And at this time, the Black radio and the Black infrastructure, Black DJs and promoters was very strong. A lot of our ancestry was people that participated in this in their city. I know my grandfather was one of them. Ended up going to gospel and promoting shows, but I know where he had to have learned that from in his younger days. Feel me? Being a part of, because a lot of them lived a double life. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Oh yeah, you really cooking today, bro. Correct. It's all tied in. This company, they've been in power for a very long time. And then they make mergers and acquisitions to get even more powerful, because they know that when you hear one name, you associate bad things with this label. So they'll go get other labels that they own, but they just bought the secret money behind it. all for power and control, because they understood this. All right. So now they know the whole infrastructure now. All right. They know the whole infrastructure. They know who the power players are. They try to figure it all out, but they not involved with the record making process, so they don't know what the recipe is. You feel me? They have no black people on their staff. So as part of their plan to not only get black artists, they needed producers, they needed promoters, they needed marketing people, they needed DJs, they needed executives. Okay, remember, integration just happened. So everything is changing. Okay, so check this out. So where we at now? We on 136. What's next? Okay, so now they had to hit the black radio, because that was what it was. Black radio is what got it popping. So clearly they had to change that. Let me get to this page. All right, so let's see. The Negro audience thus serves as a test market for many of the selections that reach the top 40 stations. Records have strong sales in the ghetto record stores as a result of airplay over R&B stations will soon be heard by top 40 listeners. So they realized that, but the way they got it booming on their radio, that's how they making these hits. So the radio people was very big at this time. All right, because they had the power to, you got some money, because the payola was a thing that kept coming up. Like, man, a lot of crosses and things was done to take this power away, because at the time, this was positive music that was able to make money, and it inspired change. Every movement that was happening was backed by music at this time. From the 50s, 60s, all this music backing these movements, the soul of the people. That's why it was soul music. It was about the struggle. It was about persevering. You know what I'm saying? Things of that sort. And that was the soul of the people. So they needed a piece of that. But they also wanted to diminish it at the same time. So they're going to talk about that. All right. So this just showing you that they did their research to a T. All right. This just wasn't no shot in the dark and no one key person changed the game. So I'm going to get to something real crucial, and then I'm going to move to something else. Because something that this particular audience, y'all going to love this. Let me find it too. I think this is it right here. All right, so I'm trying to get to the point to where they number 7 down here. Look at number 7. It says, soul music is one of the very few basic art forms which is indigenous to America, although its own roots may be tied to Africa. It has been and probably will continue to be a vital and influential force on contemporary popular music, and soul is by no means a static music form. So I'm going to read that first sentence one more time. Soul music is one of the very few basic art forms which is indigenous to America, although its own roots may be traced to Africa. So you notice how they throw the maybe in after the fact. But what they said for a fact is that this music originated in America. Exactly. Because it came from us and our people, specifically in the same place they found it from, in the South. And then you had musicians that came so you had some Black Europeans on the East Coast too, up in New York, things of that sort, folks from the Caribbean. But that mix of everything came and was created in America. No doubt about it. Harvard said this. Once again, if folks got a problem with this, they take this up with Harvard. But at this point, when I read this, because obviously I know this, right? I stand firm on this. The party know we talk about these things all the time. But ain't no other country messing with us when it comes to music, period. Never has been. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Exactly. It changes and evolves, because soul is just the way in which the music is made, the way we did our thing on music. Nobody could emulate that. So it could be, they literally broke this down in different versions. They had like 3 different categories of soul in their mind. right? It's just crazy the depths that they went to. So now I want to show a practical example because, like I say, this go on and on, bro. But I find something very interesting because what ended up happening is even the person that wrote this book was a black man who ended up working for Columbia. They hired major executives. They end up poaching a lot of artists. They end up getting a lot of artists from Motown, the Jackson 5. Maybe you heard of them. Is one of the key ones that they got. They got some major acts at Columbia, merged on to be Sony, all these big dogs, okay? And then they talked about how they wanted to send new people, them ghetto record stores they mentioned. They sent their people or created new people from the actual community and say, hey, you can be a record store owner, but even though you don't got the money all the way, we'll front you the records and everything you need. You just pay us back. So they were setting up their own infrastructure and then running the people out of town, out of business that was already there. The record stores, the promoters, the black radio stations, they all got ran out once this happened. Just like all other businesses with integration. Music was no different. The only difference was music had the potential and was making a whole bunch of money. These boys was out the trunk, mom and pop, making a killing. But then it transitioned. So stay with me. So we know that they really had a plan on paper. Clive Davis is the one that's in charge of Columbia as this is happening. We know Clive Davis to be tied to the Jacksons, to be tied to Whitney Houston, to be tied to Diddy. And they say a lot of things about how his influence and what he knew about the community, he used that for nefarious things, is what they say, right? So I want to play you Michael Jackson. You remember in 2002. Now, wait, my bad, I'm tripping. Gotta show you this. Watch this. Public and industry image. As mentioned in the report, CRG does have a real image problem with regard to entering the black market. This image can and should be changed, but it will take some doing. Following is an example of what another company in the business is doing. The company is Atlantic Records, part of the Kenny Group that is now considered such a powerful threat to CRG's total market dominance. Atlantic invariably buys a table for the company when a black station recommends a local black charity event, aka politics. Last Christmas, Atlantic gave away $3,000 worth of turkeys to the poor in Philly through the radio station. Does that tactic sound familiar? Has that ever happened in your hood? It definitely happened in mine. Okay. The turkeys were purchased from a local black turkey grower and said simply season's best wishes from WDAS and Atlantic Records. The positive feedback that it garnered at the station level and from the recipients for these types of actions is phenomenal. Bruh, okay, so these are some of the things CRG should consider doing. One word of caution, though, they must be done tastefully. Support black charities, contribute food to the poor, and establish minority music scholarships as grants. Okay, these could be set up at schools such as New England Conservatory or Juilliard. Okay, and basically, hold on, they had on here, there was a part of the Apollo. Damn, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let me see if I can go back to it. Yeah, bro. So listen, yeah, they gave the turkeys, bro. Bro, hold on. Let me see our comments. Making all local artists have to come to the machine instead of the locals doing it. Exactly. It's always been the play to take away the autonomy and force people into the powers that be, right? Where they can control everything in any facet that they see fit. This stuff was bigger than just they needed the race. The race was always a play to create an unfair advantage for the newly formed immigrants. Once the advantage was set, now they needed to let us out into their trap. And one of the number one money makers in the control of our public image was this music. They just established that folks in Europe, the white folks, at this time, Europe full of white people. And boy, they is loving this American music, loving it. And obviously it's going crazy in America too, on the underground. It just wasn't part of the mainstream. All right, so check it. So we see these things once again. The Harvard Report, a study of soul music environment. It was prepared for Columbia Records, and the dude that put this out is a black man, bro. This is what crazy. He worked for the label, Dr. Logan H. Westbrooks. He got plenty of interviews out there. Go check it out on your own. But now I want to give you a real example. So a person that we know for a fact that dealt with Columbia and the industry and powers that be was Michael Jackson. So I know a lot of y'all remember this, but let me refresh y'all memory real quick with this video.
I'm not going to talk too long because we have the demonstration at Sony, as you know. This is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. And like Mrs. Sharpton was saying, people from James Brown to Sammy Davis Jr., some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. And it's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Yes, and Sony Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish. Yes. So I need your support, not just for me. When you fight for me, you're fighting for all black people. Dead and alive. It seems that to me, I really believe it's a conspiracy because the story always ends the same. We pioneer, we innovate. You know, at the end of the story, you know, it's not an accident. It's happened on purpose. So we have to put an end to it forever.
Yes, sir.
Love you, thank you.
Give him a hand, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, are you well?
Now, how come he always around when a black, especially a black man, is going through his lowest point, and then things never get better when he's in the picture? It's the National Action Network coming to set this up. It was really about using racism, but this ain't had nothing to do with no racism. This is way deeper than that, right? But this is why he make it be this. So just to make sure we clear and understood, Sony had bought Columbia. So when they're referencing Sony, this is now, remember how these conglomerates, they just keep getting bigger and bigger, but it's still the same players involved. And he's telling you, so this whole thing with Mike, man, look, bro, I went on a deep dive, bro, because this happened right here in 2002. 2002, I was in the 9th grade. I wasn't studying about no research and all that shit, right? But then obviously he passed, about 6-7 years later, and nothing ever got better with his situation. It actually got worse. You know what I'm saying? It actually got worse for him after this, because as I'm sitting here researching, his passing and what happened, all I remember was the doctor. Well, bro, I went and watched the doctor's interview. He had like almost a 2-hour interview with 60 Minutes in Australia. And bro, that man was set up. And it was clear because they literally said this time, man, Mike was broke. And that's why this company right here, it's always these major players, mysterious things that happen. Remember when Kanye was talking about how they was trying to assign him doctors and they wanted him to go by, take certain medicine. This is exactly what they had with Mike. We know for a fact Mike was having plastic surgeries and all the other things. Well, sedatives and different medicines happen. Just like if you're an athlete and you play ball, you'll know somebody that got hurt and end up getting addicted to the pain meds because of whatever injury, and then it just keep going. That's kind of what happened with Mike. And bro, it really had me sad listening to. I went and listened to Joe Jackson interviews, and when you start certain key things keep being said, they got to be facts. If the daddy said, the mama said, the security guard said, certain parts of this is true. You feel me? But they all is alluding to the fact that, oh, nah, somebody was messing over him, and it was the powers that be. They wasn't even allowing this man to see his family. It's bigger than just taking your money away. They know that. Think about the type of power. If Michael Jackson say everybody right now, racism is dead, he got the type of power in the fandom, because that's how Americans, not just Black Americans, the way we treat the celebrities, bro. That image is powerful in America. So they will go to any means to control this shit. So, bro, the family filed a lawsuit. This is the company right here. This is the company that everybody is alleging that really did this shit. Hold on. These folks right here, Anschutz Entertainment Group, AEG. I remember this logo. But they're the ones who was overseas and put the tour, the This Is It, the last tour, this was them. And so basically what they were saying was, so at this time before he took this tour, the doctor, Conrad, everybody was confirming that he had no money. But it made sense because he spent the whole bad part of the 90s being sued. I think they said he had thousands of lawsuits against him. And his estate was just settling these lawsuits. So they taking money from him, 10 million a year, 5 million a year, just piecing them down, steady piecing them down. But he wasn't popular to book, so he couldn't do shows. So listen, the show money is very key to an artist because they've always been playing with the record money. But when you can't do shows no more, that changes everything. So while he going through this whole legal bout, he can't get no money, but it's steady having to pay out. Then all of a sudden, here come this group talking about putting together a tour, but overseas though, right? Because overseas, his name's still good. He can go crazy. And then when he got with this group, all his security was gone. They hired a whole new team of everybody around him. All right. You can go, people have dedicated their lives to putting out research behind this. That's how much the fandom is for real for him. But I'm using all of this to show a clear-cut example that the industry studied everything about this industry because it was a part of the biggest crux of the movement of Black cities, Black autonomy. They had to attack it in every way. This was big. Same thing how we had our own sports league. You feel me? All of that got crushed when the new bigger empires came and they was able to get them fiat dollars because the advantage had already been set through race. That's why they got it all and did what they needed to do. So to still be in 2026, talking about a play from a couple decades ago, we look crazy. That's when folks start getting upset with us when we showing you, oh boy, they already accomplished these goals. How in the world could a star as big as Michael Jackson get wiped out in front of the world, bro? And then all the folks who was supposed to be there for him, stepping for him, and they ain't do nothing. The industry ain't changed at all. They got rid of the old guard, and then ever since then, the game been crazy. So now you fast forward to the day, right? And look at the entertainment industry now. The soul shit is gone. Ain't no soul finna touch no type of chart now. You get what I'm saying? And the ownership is non-existent. All these new advancements, the ownership still has not progressed. And now we don't control our public image. they control the way we think, move, and act through this media. And now star dying is nothing, right? Set the precedent already. How many entertainers we lose on a yearly basis? Keep it a buck, bro. But hey, I'm just your homeboy with the news. We always got to connect these dots, y'all. We got a lot of other different programming coming to show you all of this is a big web put together, right? So the last thing to hit you with to show you how this is done, right, is a lady named Kathy Hughes. So shout out to Miss Angela. We having a convo because just so y'all understand, when we come up with our bills and the things that we do, we talk as a party, right? It ain't no one voice on this. We do our research. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of things to go get a consensus on what's going on. So we talking, and I'm thinking, I'm like, man, what are the top 5 publicly traded companies that are owned by Black Americans? So Urban One came up. And it didn't hit me what it was right away until we started doing research. And then it started to hit me that this company, I never imagined that it was this big the way that it is. So I want to show you how, remember how Columbia said they was changing the game and they wanted to incorporate radio, right? So during this time, we had 2 major figures pop up, one that everybody knows and one that's lesser known. One would be Oprah Winfrey. She covered TV side of things, right? We would all say she's a mogul. And then you got Kathy Hughes, who was the second richest Black woman behind Oprah. And I didn't even know that, okay, until, putting this together. But check this out. So every time I hear a successful person, I want to see what's their claim. How did they get to this big of a company? So she was born to Helen Jones Woods, who was a trombonist with the International Sweethearts of Rhythm at the Piney Wood School. That's a private boarding school in Mississippi. Okay. So she then attended the Duchesne Academy of the Sacred Heart in Omaha, Nebraska. So she went to 2 private schools already before she was even grown. She then went to the University of Nebraska and then Creighton University. They ended up at Howard. Okay, major transition there. So when she was at Howard, she worked at the Omaha Star, and then she ended up getting a sales job at the radio. I want y'all to go back and check all this. She had a show a format called The Quiet Storm. This was her claim to fame. So I was trying to figure out, okay, so how she got the money to build this conglomerate? So she married a dude named Dewey Hughes, and they tried to purchase a radio station, but they got denied 32 times by banks. But then all of a sudden, she got $1 million from a donor, is what they say. And she was able to get into the radio business. And she took that $1 million loan from nobody knows who and turned it into the biggest Black radio conglomerate in America. A lot of people like your Roland Martins and Tom Joyner Morning Show, like the Obama campaign, a lot of things to Black democratic power tied to these radio stations. So they took what they knew, a format that worked, that they learned about via this Columbia report, and they used that report to operate in various different means. That's when the radio changed. That's when street promotion changed. That's when Blaxploitation started coming out. Everything changed in the culture the moment they figured out how the infrastructure worked. And you can go and see various different examples of who was elevated during this time and what the ending happened to be. Because you had some that started in this time, like we was looking at Jet Magazine the other day, who was booming prior to integration, but then, they didn't make it in the end. And that's a whole nother bill. So y'all let us know, brother, y'all want us to go deep into the hip hop mysteries that tie, because it's all tied together. Hip hop, politics, and history all go together. It's the trifecta. You feel me? But hey, I'm just your homeboy reporting on this, showing y'all why these indigenous areas were so important and why they went to great lengths to control it and then control the movement within it. You feel me? So what we're taking it today is hold on 1 second for me, y'all. Hey, y'all had it. Right, moment came. Hey, so yeah, this what we ate with it though, y'all. Y'all tap in, let me know what y'all think about this, bro. You know, we live reporting, doing what we do, connecting the dots in many different ways. So hey, look, we gonna go get ready. Gullah Man Squad just hit me, so they ready to walk out. I think Mac already in the building, so we're gonna give it to them for a second. But we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about Tennessee and Illinois. Got a lot of drop for you on that. So appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Make sure y'all hit the like button for all our new people. Hey, give us a full listen. Subscribe. You feel me? If you still a little shy, I get it. Just keep on watching though. He ain't tripping, but the like button is all free, man. Appreciate every comment. You know, it all adds up. So with that being said, we're gonna take it over here to the Gullah Man Squad.
Yes, Lord. We left this truth in harmony. Make bigger world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry with so much life to live. Life to live. Life to live. We stand in the storm, still trusting in love. But when the table's set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Millions were taken that belong to the children. Food meant for their hands never reached the building. A system built the doorway and opened it wide. Gave others all the comfort while we stood outside. The officers in power, yeah, pouring out hate. When not one gentle blessing reached the neighborhoods we made. They keep saying equity, calling it trust. Yet the blessings keep on flowing everywhere but us. In the world with the money that we get. Get our little ones cry. So much life to live. Ooh, life to live. Life to live. We show up faithful, no, standing strong and just. So when the table set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? We carry the burden of taxes and patience. Still we watch our schools fade in desperation. Silence for the farm when it happens far away. But scared hands eyes on us whenever we stray. Our voices keep lifting each election year. Yet the love and protection never seem to come near. Promises repeated, settle in it does. While resources in favor never fall. Lift our homes, Lord. Lift our hearts. Guide our children. Got that star. No more silence. No more hugs. Share this nation. Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Let's feed the world with the money that we get. Let our little ones cry.
I cross. Tell us again. Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
They cut the story into pieces. Told us pick one. They gave me a color, said live inside this. Found my name down, made it fit in their system. Whole bloodline got trimmed to a sentence. Now I'm looking in the mirror like something been missing. Got rivers in me, they never mapped out. Got names in my bones, they never let out. Every time I felt different, I was dead right. They just buried the truth under headlines. Split me up, then they labeled it clarity. Now we fighting over fragments of identity. If I'm everything, why they narrow me? I'm putting all my pieces back deliberately. In blueprint, every layer got a voice. Let it speak. It's that Creole soul, unfold, don't fold. Every root I hold, turn me hold. It's that Creole soul, not one code I've been told. Now I know, yeah. Feel that? That ain't confusion, that's memory. We've been walking around edited versions, whole identity stuck behind. My body recognize what's been hidden. Certain sounds make my spirit sit up like you've been here before. I can't forget it. They simplified us just to manage the narrative. Turned inheritance into comparison. But the truth don't break under pressure. It just wait for the right ones to carry it. Don't dilute me, don't reduce me. Yeah. I'm a blend that couldn't blueprint. Every layer got a voice. Let it speak. It's that Creole soul, unfold, don't fold. Every root I hold, turn me hold. It's that Creole soul, not one code I've been told. Now I know. I don't gotta choose a side, I don't gotta cut my ties. Every line inside me mine. I'm the sum, not the fraction. I'm the truth past the caption. On my blood in alignment. Say it plain. We not one note, we harmony. Now I move like I carry an archive. Every step got a past that survive. I ain't searching for self in they boxes. I rebuilt it from what they tried to hide. So when I speak, it's layered intention. Not just pain, it's full dimension. We don't need their permission. We remember, that's the mission. Don't dilute me, don't reduce me. Don't dilute me. I'm a blend they couldn't blueprint. Every layer got a voice. Let it speak. It's that Creole soul, unfold, don't fold. Every root I hold, turn me old. It's that Creole soul, not one code I've been told. Now I know. They told us pick one. We picked all of it. That's power.
Yep, shit. Man, I hope everybody right and get their mind right. It's time to get ready for the election. We got Mac in the back. See if he ready. Tap in.
Yo, tap in.
What's good with you, bro?
Man, it's another Sunday. Every beginning Sunday, you heard me? Sunday service. We here, though. You heard me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Peace to the party, man. Veronica. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's your boy, Mac Aether. G Mac, Gullah Mac. You already know what it is. We in the building. That's a fact. You already know what it is. What they talking about today, huh? Oh, what we talking
Still with
about?
me, Mac?
Can you hear me? Mic check.
I don't know if that's him or me. In the chat, let me know if we good.
Let me go on and come back in if y'all ain't hearing me now.
Oh, hold on. I can hear you now. You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, okay, we're back.
Okay,
hey,
good?
Hey, you playing it on your phone too?
I mean, yeah, because I be in the chat, trying to interact. You know what I'm talking about?
You know they mess with your Wi-Fi though too.
It might be the case, actually. Now you say it like that. Sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I know for a fact.
Okay. Oh, well, that might be what happening. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be in the chat so I can see the chat. See, I'll be interacting. You know what I'm saying? I call myself.
Nah, I feel you. Hey, that's a good thing. But your Wi-Fi more important.
Oh, most definitely. You can't do it without the Wi-Fi, right?
Big facts, man.
Hey, I had an acronym since you said Wi-Fi real quick though.
What you got?
Back in the day, shout out to Wild Man Teddy T. I did a thing called Wi-Fi Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? Online radio, right? And the acronym for Wi-Fi was Worldly, Intellectual, Fresh Individuals. You heard me? Yeah.
That what be coming with the acronym. Yeah, that's player, bro.
A syndicate of worldly, intellectual, fresh individuals. You heard me?
That
was what we were broadcasting to syndicate. You know what I mean? Different DJs, personalities that we could program to be on a day where people could tap. Like how we doing right now on the sun. What we do at the party, the network is actually based off worldly, intellectual, fresh individuals. Even though we, could be autonomous over here. You hear me? American, maroon type shit. You hear me? The harsh reality is live life autonomously. That's the campaign. But what's the campaign without a party? You said something in the build you was doing with the music and everything that I thought was interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm throwing the alley. We on a break. You know what I'm saying? We on a break real quick. We're gonna go fast break real quick. This music thing real quick. You know what I'm saying? Freestyle, like hip hop. As you were doing, I did this while you was doing this, and I don't get all the particulars of every detail of what you just, you know what I mean? So I'm hearing it like everybody.
It's all live. Yeah.
It's live. Some of the things he say, I know what it's going, but I don't know all the things he going, you know what I'm saying? But when you said something about, obviously, the labels and everything, and one of the places that we're going to be talking about tonight is Memphis, right? We talking about Memphis, Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, Tennessee is the state, but Memphis, though, right? Music
was the hub.
Oh my Lord. So I got some, I thought about, like, because I know today, most people don't think that Black America and Memphis have this much influence on the musical history. You see what I'm saying? So, Memphis, I want to just give this to y'all. This is live. Like, say how you just threw that at y'all. I got something coming with it, right? So, because we talking about Memphis anyways, but we're going to do Tennessee, obviously, and all that in a second. But just off of the, real-time homeboy with the news shit, correlation, right? So Memphis, Tennessee is widely recognized as one of the most influential cities in the history of Black American music. Its location on the Mississippi River made it a crossroad, a migration crossroads where Black Americans' musical traditions developed, merged, and spread throughout the United States and eventually around the world. Memphis.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They say how it's tied to we've been talking about the Mississippi River over the last 30 days.
Right.
We just covered the state, right? Mississippi.
You came in right instantly with the same. It's connected. That's how the music moves.
Mississippi River. They're talking about the Mississippi, right? And they say the Mississippi River connected communities from the deep South to the Midwest. Musicians, laborers, ministers, and families carry spirituals, work songs, blues, and folk traditions into Memphis. The city's river economy also attracted performers and audiences, allowing musical traditions to circulate rapidly. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Beale Street, spelled B-E-A-L-E Street.
Yep.
By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Beale Street had become one of America's best-known Black business and entertainment districts. Clubs, theaters, churches, and businesses created an environment where blues, ragtime, y'all heard of that right there? Ragtime, right?
Yep.
Genre of music, by the way, Black folk. For those who don't know, look it up. You know what I'm saying? Ragtime. Where else I just at? Jazz and gospel flourished. W.C. Handy is the person you might want to look up with all this, often called the father of blues, helped popularize blues while working in Memphis, although the musical traditions itself originated earlier among Black communities. So the blues, the gospel, the Stax Records and soul music during the 1960s, 70s, Stax Records became one of the world's most influential soul labels. Artists such as Otis Redding, Isaac Hayes, Booker T, and the MGs, Carla Thomas, Sam and Dave, and the Staple Singers recorded music and that blended gospel, blues, rhythm, and blues into the distinctive Memphis soul sound. I want to make sure I thought we talk about Memphis historically, but that's still our history. That's still all Black folk.
And that's still the same people that we talking about that's been in these areas. They migrate. So a lot of people, like a lot of folks from Mississippi will go move to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Because it's literally just going north. So a lot of them, you know what I'm saying? And then Alabama as well, Tennessee. And then guess what? A lot of them same folks are the ones who went to the Illinois to go. A lot of people already know folks be from Chicago. They people be from the South. And they Americans.
Right. I mean, people migrating into different areas for different reasons and end up bringing their traditions and folk. See that word folk? That's the Lusty. Folk. You heard me? Like when you think about music. Folk music, that's
folklore.
Folklore.
Yeah.
Hey, funny enough, right? Funny enough, you said folklore. You know what I mean? I was watching this PBS thing today before I came here, and it's got a series. It's interesting dealing with the Blacks and the Jewish communities in America and stuff like that.
That's with the music. It came with the music too.
So the Jewish people are the ones that control most of
the labels.
You brought up Kanye, right? I'm just I mean, we can go deep into this,
bro. We gotta go do a video on these things
because I think people don't know the connection that you are laying out, how it's tied to the social, political, economic, cultural developments of America, especially from the 1900s going up. You know what I'm saying? There's a big connection to all of this, and you know, people like Michael Jackson and Kanye have said some things that are facts. You know what I'm saying? We can go back to people. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna do it tonight though. We got to focus on Memphis. So I pointed to something though. You said that, you know, folklore. So there's a term that I heard today, and I was like, I'm gonna introduce this term because you know we pseudo bust the pseudo this and pseudo that. I like to, you know what I mean, expose the pseudo even amongst our own selves because somebody got to do it. You know what I mean? Be the bad guy when it comes to the pseudo conscious community things they like to put on this. I don't know how they think this is going to liberate us. You ready? You still hear me? Am I frozen?
I'm about to bring it up. You want to go with the word?
You got it. All right, Bad Money. I thought I was making sure.
This one can make it a little bit bigger ads on it though. Yeah, I got you. Loose.
Yeah, you see this word, Monte?
Yep, demagogue.
Do I need to go out and come back in? Y'all hear him?
Yeah, let me know in the chat if y'all can hear me. Hold on. Because I can hear you. Let's see what you got going. I already know what you take it. So I'm going to read it for you. So demagogue, a political leader who appeals to popular prejudices and who makes false claims and promises in order to gain power. So I know exactly. Let me see. A leader in ancient times who championed the cause of the common people. demagoguery. To treat something such as an issue. All right, let's see. Let's see if it back. There you go. I got you, bro. Hold on.
Mic check.
Check.
Mic check.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, damn.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. I ain't even got the other one on right now too either. So
it's good. Hey, I just read this one. I don't know if this is the one you was trying to get to.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to get to. The first one right there.
Yeah.
You know
all right.
That's what I figured. They used that this word today. You know what I mean? And it's pronounced like it's funny. It sounds like something you could say demigod. You know what I'm saying? Demagogue or demagogue.
Demagogue.
Demagogue. Right. So
I remember I heard them nigga Mr. Farrakhan say somebody a demagogue of Satan.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Interesting how the term and what it really means, right? When you hear it in context, right? And it also is tied to the dude that was doing the DNA thing, man. Harry Buddy, what's his name? Scholar Buddy, called himself. You know, he got the PBS joint. I don't know why I can't think of it now. We pull
Gates, Henry Louis Gates.
Yeah, him. You know what I'm talking about. He don't want to do that series that's on PBS. And he called Louis Farrakhan. Funny you said that. He called Louis Farrakhan a pseudo scholar. You heard me? Hey, and then he was like, I know people gonna say I'm a cool and I'm a sellout for the Jewish people, but the slave trade, the Jewish people weren't involved with that. And I do have to agree with Gates about that part because in 1992, the people that got kicked out were Jews. Muslim. And anybody that's not
the ones we know today was not in power over no black people doing nothing at that time. That's just not true.
It's just not true. So that part I agree with them, but this is the term that came about, demagogue. However, and you see how it says a political leader who appeals to popular prejudice and who makes false claims and promises in order to gain power. Y'all hear that?
Yeah, I think it's this. I know this website take up. It got a lot of ads and shit.
You can take it down. I just want to show that's my word for the day. That's all.
Yeah, I had read it to him anyway when he blanked out, so we good.
Yeah, that was demagogue and pseudo scholarship. So we're gonna get to some over there. You don't recognize why I thought this word would fit in because I know just like how we were talking about Ozriff last week, right? And how we was talking about people from ancient time in the biblical sense of time frame on the timeline, and then obviously we jump up to 1492, 15th century. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get people that are gonna put certain things in context, like saying, like Columbus, we showed you, was saying that this place was Ozriff before it was known as America. But we understand the development of all that, just like how some people deal with pseudo scholarship and want to say that Memphis in Tennessee, is Egypt. You heard me? Now, Andrew Jackson gonna be my witness for this. You heard me? Because he's tied to the founding of it. So I can't be, there's no way in the world we gonna say that in Memphis was something that some ancient people were using, which is a Greek word. Yeah. It's a Greek word. Anytime you see some Greek word being used, y'all, you can't let it pass. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta know that is not the original terms for these areas outside of Roman theology and conquering of what they did, using their Greek terms. However, Tanasi, peace to you too, Eagle Feather, King Eagle Feathers. You heard me? Peace to you. Tanasi was a Cherokee settlement along Little Tennessee River. Like, see, Tennessee River, Tanasi River, right? The exact meaning of the name is uncertain and it remains debated. But it's not a Greek word, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Interesting enough, it said Cherokee, right?
Yep.
People are like, wait a minute. So is the Cherokee really Tanasi? Or is the Tanasi really the Cherokee? Which one is it? Because then we got to go into which came first, Tanasi or the Cherokee?
Right.
We're going to slide down, though. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. See how that works? Cherokee and self-identification. Cherokee is an English exonym kind of like how that Greek Memphis shit worked.
Yeah.
Traditional self-designations include Taskalgi, and I know I butcher this term all the time with the T-S-A-L-A-G-I. Yeah, I can spell, but pronunciation, Gichiwa, I'm gonna mess up some of these things. And the Anawiya, right, which means principal people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Anawiya we know is earlier too. You see what I'm saying? So let's think about why is it that these people will go with Cherokee rather than these terms that even the state of Tennessee is tied to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things people need to think about in American history. Like, what in the pseudo scholarship is taking place here? So let's go down a little more. We're just gonna get through this before we go. I want to make sure, because we got to count on Tennessee, Memphis, and all that, with Chicago today too. You heard me? Illinois. All right. So what was? Oh, I think you went back.
Nah, it's tripping. Hold on, let me see. I don't know why it's doing this shit.
It's all good.
It's not letting me go to pages. Oh, there we go. Hold on. Maybe it's tripping.
All right, now that's where we were just at. That's where we were just at, right there.
Yeah, when I'm clicking it ain't doing shit. Hold on.
Maybe it's just slow.
Maybe it's just slow and I'm tripping. Hold on. Because I'm clicking it ain't doing shit. It's 5, I think.
Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna find where it's clicking at there.
I'm finna reload it. Let me see what happened.
Because it was going into migration. It's supposed to be on migration theories. You know what I'm saying?
Migration theory?
The migration theory is the next slide, and it's slipping all the way down to origin. So it's missing 2 of the slides to be put together. But yeah, migration theories, funny enough, tied to the Cherokee. The Cherokee language belongs to the Iroquoian language family. Some scholars propose ancient southward migration, while Cherokee traditions emphasize deep roots in the southern Appalachians. Ain't that something? So if Tennessee is tied to Tanasi and Taskalgi and Anawiya, and then are they Iroquois? Because the Iroquois, their migration story is saying that they came from the north into this area. We would call it, including Tennessee. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you on it now. So boom, let's go to the next one, man, which is the timeline of Tennessee, basically.
Yep.
Boom. All right, so pre-contact Tanasi settlement, right? It's this colonial mapping of Tennessee River statehood in what time? 1796. You heard me? 96. All right. So origin of Memphis, we can go down, right? Founded in 1819 and named after ancient Memphis, Egypt. Now, I got to stop somewhere real quick for y'all. See, I got something for y'all with this before we keep moving.
And bruh say he in Memphis and they used to call it Chickasaw Bluff.
Yep. That's going to come into this. Yep. Because of Andrew Jackson and all this, that is definitely what they used to call, Tennessee, the Chickasaw Bluff area.
And they had Chickasaw mapped off what Tennessee would be today, Memphis area. Yeah.
I know. What we're going to be going into, obviously, is tied to the fact that I want you to stay on this right here for a second, right? We're going to do a timeline tonight, y'all. Check this out. So Andrew Jackson is tied to this. All right. We're going to show you the other names in a minute, right? I think it's going there. But I got to give this to you at this point on a timeline matter. See, 1819, let that stick. Let that marinate. All right. So Spanish Florida and Maroon communities are throughout the South. And we already showed you how a lot of that area before it became developed in the colonial sense to the names that we're going over tonight, that became known as states. Spain came through the area and claimed it at one point. And then obviously we know French and the English, the British, etc., came in and did their thing, right? So within that, as we're going over this, right, Tennessee is tied to the United States of America as far as becoming a state. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not even a colony. See what I'm saying? It was just, as homeboy said, Chickasaw Bluff and these other groups, indigenous people such as Tanasi and Awea and other groups, but popularly were the name, the river, Tennessee River, and how it became popular for the state. And then obviously how we get to Memphis being tied to this ancient Memphis Egyptian thing is because of 3 different men. And one of them, though, is Andrew Jackson. So now, Andrew Jackson, if y'all don't know, he was the president at the time frame of when, 1816 Fort Negro was taking place, right? Y'all understand that, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and that obviously the first Seminole Wars is tied between 1817 and 1818. Y'all understand that too on the timeline, right? All right. This is all happening before the founding of Memphis, Tennessee. The wars, right? All right. Alabama too is tied to this, Andrew Jackson. So obviously in 1819, well, matter of fact, just so you know that I ain't bluffing here, Negro Fort, located in the Apalachee River, became a refuge for formerly enslaved people, obviously black veterans of war of 1812, that's right, and families. In July 1816, U.S. forces destroyed the fort. Although Andrew Jackson did not personally command the attack, it occurred within the broader military operations he directed in the region. All right, Andrew Jackson. Then Jackson, obviously the first Seminole War, 1817 and 1818, Jackson led U.S. forces into Spanish Florida. The campaign targeted Seminole towns and black Seminole settlements that U.S. officials believed were harboring people escaping slavery, resisting U.S. authority. You heard me?
So that was their way in.
Yeah, you see what's happening, Jackson.
Yeah, so something key there, right? So it always was the way. How was they able to get the authority and figure out their way? Because the territories were settled in a way to where they just couldn't come and basically siege war for no reason. But if because the slaves would have been coming from the north, fleeing them colonies, yeah, and they would get refuge in the south. Right, so that's how they can say, "Hey, y'all got our slaves that y'all harboring
our
in y'all territory,
our state areas,
right?
To another state area that is not being governed by the United States."
Yep.
They use a certain terminology for those who don't want to be taxed. So what they doing? They leaving the states where they're being taxed, like Paul Covey saying, taxation without representation, and going into areas where they don't have to be governed that way. You know what I'm saying? This is what's happening. They said the war of 1812. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People that are already in this area living. That means they ain't got the jurisdiction over it. You see how that means too? 1812.
Yep.
So, yeah. So Jackson seized the Spanish post at St. Mark's in Pensacola and contributed to the decline of Spanish-controlled Florida. You know what I'm saying? So now we at this point. When we go through all that with Andrew Jackson and what he's doing, now we get to this point. That had to be put in, right? So everybody can't get lost in it, right? So now, boom, 1819. What's the next slide? Because I got my time now. I just wanted to put that in there. All right, so boom, here we go. Founders chose the name because both Memphis, Egypt, and Memphis, Tennessee are major river cities located on important waterways. You heard that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Even right now today, Memphis, like in trucking, is a transportation hub.
Right. So in 1819, Andrew Jackson, John Overton, and James Winchester surveyed land on the 4th, and this is what Buddy said earlier, Chickasaw Bluff, overlooking the Mississippi River, acting as proprietors of Memphis. They laid out the town, divided into lots, and marketed property so settlers and investors. The town was named after the ancient Egyptian city of Memphis. See that?
Yep. Because all they doing essentially was, now that they know, they had already figured out how the Mississippi worked, and so now they needed to build the European style cities in congruency with the way they knew the waterways worked, because that was how they was going to move goods, and everything else. So that's why it was important for them to do that. And obviously, they got to come with new names that they can own through paperwork, through control. So they call it whatever they want to call it. This all part of Indian removal.
That's what it's all going into, right? You see the expansion, right? Yep. 1812 all the way up to 1819. 2 years later, they say, "Oh, Indian removal and all that." You know what I mean? Follow the time of the events. It's all right there. So, I want to show this map though, since they just brought up this these guys right here. You know what I mean? And how they did that, what I just read, that map. I mean, before we even played any videos or anything, let's show the map. That lot of land, the lots, how they laid it out, because they got it there. You hear me? So, yeah, you see that? That's the lot. That's the layout.
Let me see if I can get it a little bigger.
Of Chickasaw Bluff. You hear me?
How that look?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the map right there, y'all. So that's right there showing you how Andrew Jackson, Overton and Winchester, you know what I mean, went about dividing up land in Chickasaw Bluff, which is an area we all today call Memphis, right? And you know what I mean? And it's close to they're looking over the Mississippi. You see how they're saying it, right? So this is what they doing though. You know what I mean? Andrew Jackson and them. That's why we don't like him right there. People say on the $5 bill that Jackson, right? We don't mess with him. We don't mess with him at all in the South. Or we don't give a damn what you say. Get the $5, give it back. Never liked Jackson. Never liked Jackson, boy.
Yeah, he been attributed to a lot of stuff, bro.
Yeah, I mean.
And then like Kofi said, this is before him becoming president.
Right. I mean, doing all this right here, like, you know what I'm saying? I might say that, if I said it, I'm wrong. He was in the general political, financial positions tied to what's going on. He became president, but he did a lot of things.
That's how you become president.
Still at this time. You know what I'm saying? So he was on that bullshit. Jackson was on that bullshit. You hear me? So
hold on, we got somebody say peace to the party. Tanasi is an Aztec goddess, basically Isis. Tennessee was named for her. What you heard about that, Mac?
I never heard anything of Tennessee. I just showed you where they're saying Tennessee go back to the etymology of the word is Tanasi, and Tanasi is tied to the Anahuia, and that ain't got nothing to do with the ancient place in history tied to the place that was Kemet. You know what I mean? Being that we're using Greek terms when we use these terms like that. You know what I mean? Based off of the history of what they call today Egypt. You know what I mean? In the dynasties, etc. Or even the folklore of Ra, Isis, and Horus being connected to the ancient city of Memphis or any of the other dynasties. You know what I mean? So I think that I ain't disrespecting Egypt over there now and what they pyramids, all that. No, I'm just saying that the Memphis that we are hearing the term come from in Tennessee today is not tied to nothing Egyptian at all. Besides the influence of some people in the 19th century, basically, like Andrew Jackson. You know what I mean? They weren't calling it because they found Egypt or found something. No, that's not what their intentions were. So, matter of fact, I got a video because I know people thought about this. So this would be the interesting thing when people hear these certain things. And I guess that's where Gates said, demagogue or a pseudo scholar. You know what I mean? And some people put out things to gain, you know what I mean, try to get attention for, trying to uncover something that no one else thought was looking at. But when you go look at, and it's like, okay, well, Mac, well, Jackson and them knew that they were ancient. Where is how and where and how? Show me that, because do we understand what's in the place called Chickasaw Bluff and Tanasi territory prior to Andrew Jackson, Overton, or Winchester coming there? Ain't nobody just documenting going through that area before that saying that this is You know what I'm saying? What's even again the Aztecs got to do with the Egyptians?
And that's a good question. I know how Aztec can get into the because that whole migration. Because I done heard this, the migration of Aztecs like coming from South America. So I could see how they'll come with that correlation. But I never myself personally researched much into the South American side of things because it just never was my bag.
I mean, these are things I'd be thinking about when people talk about, Memphis and America and, the origins of it being ancient past the time frame of when these people that we definitely call Europeans, you know what I'm saying? And what they were doing, the indigenous and black folk that were in these areas at this time frame. So I just, I think that that's something that needs to be, I mean, it can't be that we think it's conscious, but it's not really conscious. It's pseudo scholarship. It's what it's pseudo this and pseudo that. It's not founded. You know what I mean? So go ahead and play this joint, a little bit of this right here, though. How people talk about it, just as an example.
All right.
Hello.
Can you hear it?
Thank you for tuning in to Queen
Yeah.
Radio. Right. You're rocking with the Queen. I wanted to take some time and thank you guys for subscribing and watching our channel. And I also wanted to take some time and tell you guys the history of Memphis, Tennessee, where Memphis, Tennessee got its name from. Well, Memphis got its name from and the history behind it. Of course, I'm sure most people know, about Memphis, and it's some things that people don't know, like people don't know that it's a Memphis, Egypt. Some people would say that the United States is the new Egypt because it's queens that are named, it's cities this globe. People don't know that Charlotte, North Carolina was named after Queen Charlotte, a mulatto queen. Also in Baltimore, you have Prince George County that is named after Prince George County. Ha! Yes. Pick your mouth up off the floor. Let's jump into this history because a lot of history has been hidden and stolen from the Moors, as some people call it, the blacks, the African Americans. And I just want to be one of those ones that bring this information to light. So let's jump right into this Memphis, Tennessee thing. Memphis is a city on the Mississippi River in Southwest Tennessee, famous for blues, soul, rock and roll that originated there. Of course, you guys know Elvis Presley, B.B. King, and Johnny Cash recorded albums at the Sun Legendary Studio or the legendary Sun Studio. And Presley's Graceland Mansion is a popular attraction. Other music landmarks include the Rock and Soul Museum, Blues Hall of Fame, and the Stax Museum of American Soul Music. So those are just a few little facts about Memphis, Tennessee. It's pretty funny to me that Memphis is on the Mississippi River. That's quite interesting, knowing that Memphis, Egypt is near the Nile.
Yo.
So
Monte, pull up.
Let's jump into.
All right.
Pull up. Go back a little bit. Because see, I know people was talking. I heard someone in the audience literally just said Tanasi, and y'all remember we was covering the Mississippi River and we showing the Delta and how it goes out, how it goes out into the Gulf, and how she just showed in the video how the Nile River and then the Delta goes into the Mediterranean. Or you see how that? Go back a little bit. It showed that term that she put that she didn't put it though, but she showed it. You know what I'm talking about? She showed it. Go back a little bit. All right, let her play a little bit. Hold on.
Here?
It's up a little more. She showed where it showed that the Delta. I think it's right before, either right before or right after this. That's what I'm trying to see. But I wanted to show it because it's right there on that map that she's talking about it. Let her play a little bit. I'm just gonna stay here and let her run back. Play a little bit. Hold on.
Nile. So let's jump into Memphis, Egypt.
Okay. Nah, it gotta be before.
There it is.
Memphis,
right there.
Egypt.
That's it. You see, all right, stop. You see Tanis?
Yeah, right here.
Is that the same word as Tanasi?
No.
We showed it earlier, right? Tanasi.
Yeah.
Tied to Tennessee. The origin of Tennessee comes from Tanasi, where they say it's a Cherokee word tied to the Iroquois who came from the north and down into the region of today we call Tennessee, right? Is Tennessee laid out when we look at the state today with any of this connection to the Mediterranean or any of these areas off the Nile? Think about it. There's the map.
Yeah.
Anybody out there see it differently?
And then we also talked about how this river flows differently.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So the benefits of being, it's not as streamlined and, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm trying to point out too, because I've seen this coming. And I've heard certain things when I was listening, thinking about Tennessee and this Memphis Egyptian ideal of things. I'm like, the Mississippi, we just went over to Mississippi. We got to have to show in context of the Tennessee and its origin that, hey, we ain't saying ain't no dark-skinned people there now. It's just we ain't saying it's Egypt. it's not.
And I think it's just one of them games, like, it's so, like, what if it was named, like, who, it don't really even matter why it was named what it was named. The people that was there already is what mattered.
Right, and they didn't even call it that. So at the end of the day,
exactly,
we playing games, but knowing these people didn't even call it that. We just broke down that they call it Tennessee, Tanasi, and Tanasi is coming from a group of people that migrated into that area that had early people there. Huh?
Yep.
Just as they called it the Chickasaw, they were there already. See what I'm saying? In the bluff. So, and they didn't call themselves, in certain cases, the same things we're calling them today to identify them because they tied to the 5 civilized tribes today, funny enough, right? So within the context of what we're saying, either way, the Nile Delta is not the Mississippi Delta, and Tennessee is not tied to the Delta or Egypt in that situation. Now, that's all I want to play from that, though, because I want to show this part right here on the maps that she had. And I thought it was great that she did it that way. And she showed a lot of things we talked about, see, with Memphis and the soul music and all that right there, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all tied together. I mean, that's why they wanted to. He set that city up there for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. But it had nothing to do with it being an ancient place called Egypt.
At all. It was because of where it was geography, where it was, made the sense for it to be a major city.
Major city, trading post, river system, and different groups of people going there. As they set up the proprietors, right? Jackson and them. And as I can always correct ourselves. If I did misspeak and say that he was president at the time, I was wrong. I didn't mean to say that. He became president, as God Green put in the chat, obviously in 1829, right? But in 1815, right, he gained national fame after that Battle of New Orleans, Jackson. In 1818, he led the first Seminole War I just broke down. And was one of the proprietors of Memphis that we were talking about as how it became a city within the place we call today Tennessee as a state. So 1824, he ran for president, but lost after the election was decided in the House of Representatives. In 1828, he won the presidential election. March 4th, 1829, took office as president. During his presidency, his administration pursued policies that led to forced removal of many native nations, including Seminole, contributing to the Second Seminole War. So he has that much impact as a president and prior to being a president with his intentions, not only in getting that land as he was a proprietor of Memphis, but also removing people from other areas around it so that he could turn around and resettle it with people that's going to come by and buy those lots we showed you on the maps.
He was a proprietor. He had an interest in making sure that this land was able to be resettled. He owned land.
Right.
So it's straight business for him.
He like, man, listen here. I need
he don't care how he labeled. Yeah.
We're going to sell that right there. We're going to get that. We're going to split it up, all right? They say that he didn't really go into if it's like that. Even too. He was just making business moves like, yeah, let's do that. That's what y'all got? That's what I got. I got something that we can put up on it. Let me get that. And they had a grant and everything tied to it too. Anyway, yeah, it's there. So, however, just to get the pseudo part out of that Tennessee part, Memphis part, you know what I mean? Just let it be what it's supposed to be in America, to be Americans. You hear me? You know what I'm talking about? So, our next joint is Chicago. You heard me? Yeah, I think we're in Chicago now, right?
Going up the road, going up down the river.
In Chicago, you know what I mean? Now, Chicago, you know, whenever you're ready.
All right, which one you want me to bring up? The slide or the?
Go to the slide first, because we like to give them the before we get into the people and certain individuals tied to, you know what I mean, the influence, right? We're gonna give them the.
So we're taking it to Illinois.
Yeah. So, is the Illinois one there in this one, right? It's in this one too. Okay.
Right.
All right. We start with Chicago is the major city within Illinois for everybody out there. Right. So y'all don't get it confused, but we just, you know, Chicago is the popular place within Illinois. You know what I mean? Some people might want Chicago to be the state name.
Man, most people, if they never been to Illinois, that's the only city they gonna be able to tell you. They don't know about no goddamn Springfield and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, ain't no black folk talking about nowhere else in Illinois. My mom.
They gonna just straight say Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, we going to Chicago. Anybody say, "Oh, I'm going to Illinois in this area"? People like that. Black folk be like, "I'm going to Chicago." You heard me? So, so how Chicago got its name is the funny part, right? So, origin of the name Chicago. You know what I'm saying? We're going state to state. The word Shikaakwa. You see how I said it? Shikaakwa. Shikaakwa. You're go ahead how y'all want now. Go ahead how you want. You know what I'm saying? Now, Chicago comes from the Miami, Illinois word. Funny that Illinois even, right? Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Tied to this situation. Hold on. Let me pull up what I'm doing right now. Hold on.
We got one right here in the chat that say Chicago is Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I've never heard of that before myself. I when I looked it up, it didn't give me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what Illinois, by the way, though, side to Chicago, and just makes I don't forget to say this, is that the name Illinois ultimately comes from the name of the Illinois Confederation. You ain't probably heard of that confederation, huh, y'all? It's a confederation. All right. Also called the Illinois. It's ILLNIWEK. It's a confederation, again, tied to Algonquin-speaking peoples who lived throughout what is now Illinois and neighboring parts of the Midwest before European settlement. You know what I'm talking about? Right. But this now, you see, that's why it says Miami, Illinois. So we're dealing with an Algonquin group of people, just like how Tanasi is tied to the Iroquois group of people. You know what I mean? And their migrations into certain areas, funny enough, right? Now, the people call themselves something, and it's called the Inoka, the INOKA, or INOCA, all right? So it says the French explorers, French territory, funny enough, too, including Jacques Marquette, like Marquette University, where Dwayne Wade, who come out of what? Chicago. Right? Now, he encountered communities, they say, in the 1670s. But this, a word right here, though, is tied to Chicago and based off when we was doing all the breakdown on all this. And that's how it could be spelled in the Indigenous of the Miami, Illinois, based off the original English letters we're using today, phonetically. However, slide down. Why the area was called Shikaakwa? They said wild onions, garlic grew abundantly in the wetlands, marshes, and riverbanks surrounding the Chicago region. Ain't that some shit? Based off of produce and things that the indigenous people are cultivating.
It grew naturally.
It grew naturally in that area. All right, so when we can slide down. I just thought that was interesting that, you know what I mean? Wild garlic and stuff was growing abundantly, and you know what I'm saying? Is it the area was used and inhabited by Miami? And we ain't talking about Miami, Florida at the time. See, ain't that something too? Miami, Florida today, right? But this is Miami, Illinois, right? The Confederation. Look at the name. Potawatomi. You know, John Brown got some ties to these people. Potawatomi and other indigenous nations long before European settlement. We're gonna slide down. So you know, and I think when the person put see how they put that in there, how they spelled it. And this is the closest I found to what they were spelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The French came in and they said French explorers, fur traders recorded the name as Shikaakwa, and Chicagoo during the 1600s. You know what I mean? So the variation of the word from Shikaakwa, or however you pronounce that word, right? And how it came known today as Chicago is basically what we breaking down and understanding. It's an indigenous name.
And it could have had a lot of different variations from different people. You feel me? It came from something though. You could tell they was referencing something that they was, because you know what I'm saying, the similarities and the phonetics of it mean that it was a verbal word that people that was from there when they got there was saying.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. What's left on the meat on here? Historical timeline. See, so as I brought up Marquette University, y'all know about it today. Joliet, these are people that the university is tied to today. As you know, it's Marquette University. Joliet traveled through the region. It says 1673, late 1600s. Chicago appears on French maps. All right, you see that? Chicago's appearing on French maps in the 1600s. 1837, Chicago is incorporated as a city. You know what I'm talking about? The state of Illinois, by the way, becomes a state in 1818. Just let y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Chicago River, the Chicago River and surrounding wetlands formed an important transportation route connecting the Great Lake and Mississippi River system. Look at that. The Mississippi is tied to, listen here.
Okay, and the Great Lakes is amazing, bro. Like the vastness of the Great Lakes is crazy. So that combined with the Mississippi, that's how then you know that's why the Midwest was booming. Yeah.
You moving. You got to move. You need these places to move these things through, even the Tennessee area, because it's off the Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mississippi.
It's all connected.
It ain't the Nile River.
and it's a reason why people from Mississippi in particular moved right up the river to go to Chicago, or they went to Memphis. They stopped in Memphis because it was closer, but then some kept on going. Because Memphis right up the road from Mississippi.
Right. Looking at the trade system where work going to be at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Where
you're going to be at.
Settle and have better situations in the areas of black areas, such as what we know today called Chicago, right?
Yep.
Like Memphis. These are black areas today that indigenous people, and the term indigenous obviously has been around for how long? And black people have been around for how long? You going to say that none of them people? Okay, either way, we're going to show you an example. Because Chicago is tied to a certain person, ain't it?
Yep.
I know y'all know he's a black man. You know what I'm saying? So indigenous legacy, but Chicago preserves an indigenous place name that reflects the natural landscape before urban development. So just let y'all know, colonial, you know what I mean? Conclusion, Chicago derives from the Miami, Illinois word, Shikaakwa, referring to the wild onions and garlic that once grew throughout the region. So that's what I came to. And if anybody finds anything else, throw it in the chat after the fact. If you ain't put it in there during the daytime, that what we're talking about right now. And, you know, all that right there. I mean, I see how I put that in there real quick. I think you went straight to the Illinois part that I was reading.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think I gave them all of that, but you can show it.
Yeah, it looked like it.
You know what I mean? Dealing with Illinois and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Federation, though, is funny enough, too. I found this very interesting that it showed how they said the Cahokia, the Perora, Cahokia, right?
Yeah.
Perora. These are different names of indigenous groups of people. They're not five civilized, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Recognized as a founder of the permanent non-indigenous settlement, right? This guy right here, right? That's what I wanted to get to. See?
Yeah.
Him right here. So it says recognized founder of the of permanent non-indigenous settlement at the site that became Chicago. Now they say he was born around 1745 in Saint Domingue, present day Haiti. You heard me? Historical sources generally describe him as having French father and an African mother. Funny enough, in 1745 they're not using the word African unless his people were from out the Guinea. Negro de Guinea, they said. It wouldn't even said African yet. However, though, that's what they put up in the text, so I ain't want y'all to think that I'm changing anything. I know they're gonna use that word.
Hey, but that last part of that sentence, like that's how they be telling on themselves, because they say that French part and an African mother, although details of his early life are not fully documented. So
Right,
why would you say this?
Don't really know,
yeah,
you know what I mean. They just know
no need to even put that in there.
The father and mother are not the same, and she definitely is darker than probably the Frenchman. You know what I'm saying?
So you ain't got to give no country attachment to it if you don't know, because you just speculating. Right. They just said it's documented.
Hey, but you know, some people gonna get to the drastic part and say, well, you know, the French man had her as a slave and he raped her and they had a child and then he colonized his child. You know what I'm talking about? Either way, that's too drastic. I don't know. Sometimes we like to go to the soap opera, but around 1779, he established a prosperous trading post near the mouth of the Chicago River, strategically located between the Great Lakes and the Mississippi watershed. See, so it's a black dude now, right? That is coming down the Mississippi and says, you know what? Look at this. What became known as Chicago, right? So look who married, though. Look what he married, though.
Yep.
He said he married what?
Shikaakwa,
right? Catherine, as we would say in English, right? As far as having an English name. That's right. She had two names. A Potawatomi woman, and built strong commercial relationships with indigenous nations in the region. Who's he dealing with?
Indigenous folks.
Yeah, that's what he dealing with. Who'd he marry? Probably who he had children with? Indigenous. Will his children not be now considered indigenous because of him having French and African, as they would say? Now that he's now had a child or children married to a woman that's indigenous, like how would you all? Is his children not mulattoes in Chicago?
By definition, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, make sure. All right, so we slide up a little bit though.
Yeah, I think this is the last one. Let me jump.
Yeah, we're gonna play a little video of it too. Matter of fact, should have picked it first, then we play the video. I think that's
he said COVID say I think the name being tied to Dusable is cap. Yeah, I think he was just I don't think it was named. I think it's a better point being made with him, which is the presence of Black Europeans in this area at this time. Because that part undisputed. Says, well, I can't say it's undisputed because they not trying to dispute neither side, but what we can say is undisputed is the French sailed to Mississippi first. That's on record. You know what I'm saying? Not what this 1745 they did this not long before this.
Right. So, but in the same again, the disciple part being capped, you know what I mean? I ain't want to go too far that way with trying to get into this man's disciple part, and then we just trying to cover. We know everybody know you're a black man. Matter of fact, the video I got I think covers why I think some people might debate about certain things, even with how you said coming out of IAT, right? And what was his mama's background, where she was from, right? All that right there.
Or his dad. Because they say his dad, French father, and an African mother, but then they said the early life not fully documented. So which part not documented? The mama or the daddy, or you know what I'm saying? Or both.
Right. I mean, however, this black man is moving from IAT and coming in on behalf of the French. He's moving with the French coming into this territory, trading and stuff. He's not moving with Africans. He's moving with the French. As far as powers go, the ones that had the power to go into this territory with amongst indigenous people, which was French territory at that time. See what I'm saying? It wasn't English territory. It wasn't the 13th colony. It wasn't the Spanish. It's the French.
So this is more so a plug of what we've been saying the whole time. It really is proof of that. Like no matter where they say he came from Haiti and he's here and he was commissioned by the French to do what he's doing. and then they showing you what he looked like. So clearly he wasn't no, he's a big dog.
He ain't no slave.
Right. Okay. Shout out to Zero Waste. He said the Fuel Museum, located at 1400 South Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. Their anthropology collection houses thousands of Native American copper items. That's very interesting. Appreciate that input. I love Chicago, bro. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it is. Chicago's beautiful, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's definitely they wilding out there, but Hunnits and all that, they wilding. Yeah. Shout out to Lee Cummings, right? Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But show this next so they can get a picture of them real quick. Hold on. Show the picture first, the video. I know I sent you the video. Let's go talk about them and how But wait, slide up real quick though. This will show you a little bit more how I was like what he did with his.
It can't. It's a slide, so I can't move it.
Okay, well, so his settlement included a home, a warehouse, a barn, a smoke shop, a mill, garden, livestock, making it one of the area's first earliest trading centers. With what
he was him.
People, you know what I'm saying? And having children, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's how they sketch them out to be.
Hold on, they got some of these.
Yeah, statues of them everywhere too, obviously.
It's a little slow. Too slow.
Museums and stuff named after them, etc. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah. Clear as day. What Buddy looked like. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, hey.
But this whole they make the Black European thing sound like the most. So we telling you right now, the Black Europeans made it with the indigenous people because they looked alike, and you got examples all the time. There just so happened to be one that they, because of him being from Haiti, because if he had been straight from America or literally born in France, I don't think they would have made this history as known. Him being from Haiti, I think, is what made them feel okay by immortalizing him. Because there was plenty of him that was happening. They just, I don't know how he made the cut.
Not the only one now, just Chicago happened to be though, because what he did and how he mixed in with the indigenous population to be able to do it. See what I'm saying? And what he called it Chicago? Where Chicago get his name from? Oh, him, right? And what did he do? He mixed in with who? What? The indigenous people. Oh, what he call it after? Indigenous people. The name Chicago started what? Indigenous people. What Black people were doing? Mixing with indigenous people from here, from European backgrounds, mixtures, etc. They were coming just like they go anywhere else. You go mix with indigenous.
So it's the same as Memphis. It really don't matter how the name came there. Well, we know who was the people that was there when it became this name. You feel me? And after the fact, that's what mattered the most, because this name, the debates about them can go, a million ways from Friday.
Right.
Getting caught up on the details that really don't matter as much as who the people was there.
Right. I mean, the point of the matter is a Black man, and he's obviously not enslaved coming into the North America, that's establishing a trading post. You know what I mean?
Yep. He in a power position.
Off the Chicago River. What do we, and mixing with the indigenous people. Marrying.
Yep.
All right. So I don't know what, you know what I mean? Some people it's like, damn, so that man had French in his ancestry. If he had a Negro that was born in Saint Domingue, we don't know exactly if they were already there. These people came from somewhere else. However the case, they were in Haiti, right? As far as when that French man came in contact with that's all they saying. And they had a child. He's that child. And then him growing up, now he comes into North America, the place we call today Chicago, set up Chicago, you heard me, and did his thing. And mixed in with the indigenous people here. However the case, now Chicago has his name, you know what I'm saying, in Illinois. So I think that's, that's the picture right there. We can play a little video clip though they got found. That's pretty interesting. and you know, after that, you know, we can slide at a few. You hear me? But that's Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Illinois, and obviously Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm finna play it right now.
All right, tap in.
All right. Jean-Baptiste Point du Seboul was a pioneer and prominent trader of Haitian origin. Chicago by city and state officials. He had been considered the city's first non-native settler since the 1850s, but many failed to honor him on the level of white pioneers until several decades after his death. Du Seboul was also the first person to perceive the importance of Chicago, then called Shikaakwa, a Native American word used for smelly waters since the area carried the scent of wild onions. Chicago eventually grew from a small trading post to one of the largest cities in the United States. The city is now an important commercial center, but its success was born out of Du Seboul's intimate relations with the native tribes, with whom he collaborated to lay the foundations of what would later become an important center of commerce, trade, and American industry.
Okay.
Jean-Baptiste Point du Seboul was born around 1745 in the village of Saint-Mar.
That was fire, huh?
Yeah, that little video they put in the beginning.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay, island of Saint-Domingue. The area is now known as Haiti. His mother was a free black slave who is believed to have been killed in Haiti when Du Seboul was 10. His father was a white French mariner who owned a fleet of ships. Upon the death of his mother, who was killed during a Spanish raid on his village in 1755, the young Du Seboul had to swim out to sea where he found refuge aboard one of his father's ships. Du Seboul's father eventually sailed him to France to receive a proper education, and it was there that Du Seboul developed the love of language. He learned to speak English and Spanish in addition to his native tongue, French. In France, he also became enamored with fine art and culture, and he later acquired several valuable works of art. In time, Du Seboul began sailing as a seaman for his father. On one of his voyages, Du Seboul traveled from Saint-Domingue, Haiti, to the French colony of New Orleans. En route, the ship was damaged, but Du Seboul abandoned it before it sank. Together with a childhood friend named Jacques-Philippe Clémorgon, an injured Du Seboul made it to the mainland, but without the paperwork that identified him as a free person. To make matters worse, New Orleans had been seized by the Spanish, who would certainly view Du Seboul as not only a man worthy of imprisonment, but also enslavement. To his relief, French Jesuits rescued and protected Du Seboul while he mended. Du Seboul did not remain in New Orleans long. After recovering, he wisely departed the Spanish-occupied territory to explore the wild interior of the North. Du Seboul's friend, Jacques Clémorgon, who would later become quite wealthy himself, accompanied him. Du Seboul did not traipse off into the unknown foolhardily, however. Who was a native of the Great Lakes region. He worked for a Catholic mission, and Du Seboul convinced him to join the expedition north along the Mississippi River.
See, I knew y'all were going to say that out there in the chat, though. See how it is? I ain't going to say everybody going to agree with all that. See, we said it was undocumented, certain things, so this is this man's narrative, right? I understand that.
Because I don't agree with his narrative either. But this is why it's important for folks to do their history, because it's so easy. They play with us with their whole undocumented thing, but we can go off statistics and facts and probabilities. You feel me? We know it was a certain amount of people, and all the folks we seeing is because they clearly want to depict him in the proper way when we just show what he looked like. You feel what I'm saying? He ain't when nobody ever considered him to be no white man if they was to see him. You feel me? So definitely. It's interesting, but anytime that's just a concept that we have as Black people, that when we think European, it has to be white. They immediately go to white every time.
Most definitely. And that's, that's why I say like this, man, when we have these conversations about individuals that have influence like that be considered Black or coming out of places like Haiti, Saint-Domingue, and obviously having that French mixture, right? That means he would be a mulatto either way, right? And if he's a mulatto, and then he's mixing in with indigenous people, his children would be mulattoes. And I think that all that is very interesting in how they look at that. So at the end of the day, you know, that's why we bring up these people and these individuals tied to these major situations in history, so people you can keep the timeline right. And then maybe you might find something different in the research if you're interested in to the Sabal gene. You heard me? So I think it's very, French Protestants and, all that, right? The Calvinists and all that that's tied to this too. The Jesuit situation they mentioned in that right there too. You know what I'm saying? It goes a lot deeper than the complexity of just saying it's one narrative or the other, actually. You know what I mean? Just off of the mixture and him being, it says mama was free. So in that area, they said the Spanish too at the timeline in Saint Domingue. The French and the Spanish are not together, by the way. And when we look at later on how the French end up over it, but she's supposed to be a free black woman enslaved. She got manumitted or something, somehow or another. With this Frenchman who got ships. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I want you to think about like that narrative. Like, okay, why is a white Frenchman want to go and mess with some lady that was once enslaved on an island, and you know what I mean? And he's swimming away. Right. It's very interesting. I mean, the narrative is, hey, but what we do know is what he definitely did do, tied to Chicago and where they say he came from. So, however, and who he mixed with when he came here, he knew that much. He knew that much. So, hey man, I appreciate you for tapping in on Sunday service, man. You know what I mean? Next weekend, 4th of July weekend. You hear me? Independence. So we know we're going to the place where independence is tied to, right? And them folk tied to the state, right?
Got to.
Got to. It's 4th of July weekend. Philadelphia, brotherly love. You heard me? Coming to your city real close. You know what I mean? The cities and everything. Philly, though, yeah, man. Tap in with us next week, Sunday. Monte, man, anything you want to say before we slide?
Nah, man, just we breaking down the whole methodology, right? Going state to state, really putting emphasis on America, because I personally feel like not enough of us know American history for real. Like, and now when you come into this information, it's even more important for you to go back and reframe, go over certain things, because you see it with a new lens now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely so. So that's why we appreciate y'all for tapping in. You hear me? Welcome. Maranatha. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The harsh reality is live life with time. So we appreciate everybody that taps in with us. Check us out on Patreon. In the summertime, we've been, like we said, getting certain things, because of the departments that we have been setting up in the background and getting them all right so we can take it to the next level. Obviously, y'all helped us do so. So I want to get nothing but love for everybody that subscribed, shared, liked, disliked. You know what I mean? You know what it is. I appreciate y'all for spending the time, I guess you say, autonomously with us. However, we building some things, so tap into our Patreon, Maroonville, you already know what it is. And obviously outside of that, we're going to be doing builds exclusively on Patreon going into the fall. That's the plan. You know what I mean? Exclusive joints that we know that we can't really go hard on Sunday as much because there's not enough time in our programming and everything. So we're going to try to put something in there for y'all on Patreon. And then at the same time, too, Sunday service is Sunday service. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. You hear me?
Yeah, well, we got requested. Can we talk about the Eakins Oval, the statue in Philly next week?
Oh, yeah, man. Pull up on us next week and, just remind us, though. I'm trying to remember that now. Me and Monte try to remember it now since you said it. We definitely got to go to Philadelphia next week because 4th of July weekend and independence and all that tied to it. This place in Philadelphia today. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
We got to reframe it all, man. But yeah, bro. All right, so you ain't got nothing else. Don't close us out, bro.
Man, the harsh reality is live life autonomously. You heard me? We Americans. You heard me? But we autonomous, so we maroon. You heard me? Yeah. Shout out to my Gullah folk, all my Esther Lusty. You heard me? Yeah, shout out to my Blackamoors and all that too. Matter of fact, hold on, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Because within the context, we always got to remind people too, right? Like how we bring up Benjamin Franklin, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Terminology is being used is very key to these conversations on my timeline. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, because today we use words and what we use today in history and how race theories and everything came into play, and now we're falling underneath that understanding and context. But what's very, very, very important to what we're talking about is understanding the terms that the colonies, the crowns, also when people say Europeans, white folk, right, were using in this time frame of 15th, 16th, 17th century, 14th century, 13th century, 12th century. You know what I'm saying? So Blackamoor, you heard me? That's why I got to give a shout out to because I think the term, I know it predates the term African. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, being used. You know what I mean? Especially by the 13 colonies. The Europeans, they used the word Swarthy. Yeah, they also used the term Blackamoor, right? So Schwarzenegger, you know what I'm talking about? Overview in English language, historical records from roughly 16th through the 18th centuries. Blackamoor was one of the principal terms used to describe many dark-skinned people. It appears in royal proclamations, parish registers, court records, household accounts, and literature. Modern historians generally treat it as a historical descriptor whose meaning depended on context rather than as precise ethnic category. Related historical terms, Blackamoor, frequently used in England for many dark-skinned people, especially those perceived to be of African origin. Though usage varied, more a flexible term that could refer to North Africans, Muslims, Iberian Moors, or in some contexts, other dark-skinned people. Negro became increasingly common in English, colonial, and legal records during the 17th century. Even the term Ethiopian, often used in biblical or literary context as broader descriptor. Geographic identifiers, such as Guinea, Angola, or Congo, were also common. They're being directed about these people that they're calling from these areas, the regions that they're being brought from. You know what I'm saying? They're not using the word African. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So relationship to modern terminology, many ancestors of people who today identify as Black American were described in historical records using terms such as Blackamoor. So when we say we Blackamoors, it's like you say you are African American.
Yep.
Why Blackamoor is being used before African American? It's just keep it simple, y'all, on the timeline when the terms are being used by the records. You hear me? You see how I said England too, right? Because Queen Anne, she deported some people out of her territory.
Oh yeah.
England. She didn't deport them out of Africa. She kicked them out of England.
Yep.
Called them Blackamoors. I'm deporting them. I'm sending them to the colonies of the Americas. It's in the records, just like I just read. This is what the terms like Queen Anne and them were using. So I don't know what your surname like Disable in them, right?
Yeah.
They could be Black. They could become Huguenots now. They could be called Moranos. They could be called Christians too. They could be called Protestants. You heard me? Anything but obviously. But hey, you got to understand the context of what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And understand the terminology of the timeline. Because today we can't use modern day United States terms for underneath a racial understanding to understand identities of ethnic, national mixtures, etc. backgrounds that predate United States of America and these states that we're going over state to state today. You heard me? That's what stick to the script with that. You heard me? That's what it is. So I ain't gonna lie. I gotta stick to the script with that. For all my Blackamoor folk out there, Estelusti, Magullah, right? My indigenous folk, all that.
It's
all
important, bro.
You heard me in my room, style. You heard me? So tap in. For my Guinea folk too. You know what I mean? All my folk.
The Black European link is the key, bro.
Yeah. We're American.
It is what it is.
And you see the World Cup, right? Y'all been watching the World Cup too before we go?
Yeah, I ain't been watching the games, but I've been seeing the videos of people.
Video content like
cities going crazy.
It's crazy, right? Yo, the Colombian was in Fort Lauderdale the other day.
I seen it, bro.
Right up the street, bro. Right up the street from where I'm at, Provident Market. And they had the whole block with police. The whole thing was yellowed up, but Colombian soccer jerseys everywhere.
Yeah.
They was in a hotel called the Del Mar, right? The Colombian soccer team was staying there. So when they knew, brand new people partied.
I believe it, bro.
Yeah. Block the whole, but also within that too, because it's like, you know, down in South Florida, same thing by the stadium and Dolphins play at. They had to block off areas, bro. Like, it's crazy how it's been with them come to soccer. It's crazy in America right now. However, though, you notice that you see black people playing for these teams in these different national teams. So is that person being called an Afro, or is he Jamaican? Is he Asian? Is he Portuguese? Is he Colombian? Is he Scottish? Is he American? Like, why are we getting? These are nations playing against other nations on a world level, right? Representing a nation, not a race, race, because a race ain't got nothing to do with the nation part. We the ones that divide ourselves off this racial part, and it's really an American thing. You know what I mean? Because America and some German folk decided to use this term as a prefix in front of our being Americans for their nationalization. And matter of fact, my last thing I want to say too. See, I don't want to forget things. Last week when we did Ozarif, we were talking about the Constitution, right? And you see what I put there in the teller, right? To clarify what it say.
Yeah, by the free white persons.
Yeah, that free white person ain't tied to no Constitution.
Yep.
So today, if your people predate the Constitution and you were native already in the land and with mixtures, whatever going on prior to 1776, right? And then all the shit that happened, excuse me, French, going into from 1776, going into 1865, your people went through all that, right? You know what I'm saying? And then 13, 14, 15 Amendment kicks in, and now they can't bar you from having equal rights as a American citizen today, right? You're American.
Yep.
All that other stuff you playing with is propaganda, politics, religious maybe ideals, and all the whatever pseudo scholarship maybe people be into. But just like these black folk, in all these other places that are tied to the nation, you are tied to the nation. Your mixture, whatever it may be. Don't be insecure about that out there, y'all. Be autonomous over here. We in a maroon position, yes, but we're Americans most definitely. You heard me? So tap in. Till next week.
We gone.
Peace.
100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land.
Familiar streets, still feel far from home.
Born where the ground know my name, still asking permission to stand. They sold the future in papers, now we pay just to live on the land. No change, just rules we never chose. Old lies dressed up as law. If you don't know what's been taken, you won't miss it at all. Exiled in our own land, standing where we belong. They convinced us this ain't our country. Now we've been here moving wrong. Exiled in our own land, roots deep, still feel alone. Taught us how to survive here. Never taught this was home. Hell came tied with a leash. Every every favor had a fee. They call it progress, call it order. I call it quiet captivity. If the game was set before us before we learned the rules, you don't blame the player for losing when the table's rigged to choose. No border still confined. They erased us with education, left us searching our own mind. This ain't exile by distance, it's exile by design. They made us forget. Once you see it clearly, you don't ask for a seat, you said same ground, new rules, same blood, new name. Still here, still waiting for what was never meant to change. Still here, still waiting, same blood, still waiting for what was never. But the fog lifting slow. They can't keep what we remember. They can't hold what we know. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh.
Black leaves in the Mississippi River. Black leaves in the Mississippi fire. Black leaves in the Mississippi choir. Black leaves on the Mississippi land. And we've got garden cotton, we've got sons and daughters, we've got grit and glory, we've got mother stories, we've got strength like towers, we've got hope and power.
God made woman with an iron hand, raised her up on heaven's land. God made woman with an iron hand, raised her up on heaven's land.
Strength like towers, we've got hope and power.
God made woman with an iron hand, raised her up on heaven's land.
time I feel good.